channel.
And one. Hey, you know what time it is?
What time is it, man?
Welcome everyone to another episode of The Beatdown, the segment where two worlds collide. I'm your host, Glad, and my co-host,
Mr. J. What's up, guys? We would like to remind you, if you like our videos or our content, go in the like section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share.
You know what we mean. Anyways, moving on. We today, you guys loved the team up so much from the last episode with Avengers versus Justice League that we decided we're going to do another team up. And this one is going to be awesome. We're going to be doing Doom Patrol versus
The Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, so we're going to probably base the story. Well, we're just going to go through it because it would be confusing to explain.
We're going to do the best we can.
Yeah, we're going to do the best we can. But anyways, dive on.
Based off of, comics and the show.
Yeah, so usually in our team-ups, we don't do the regular stuff. We don't do traditional brief origin stories, power feats and all the abilities, and endgame. We're going to just give you the top tier, which is the feats, and we're going to give you their endgame. So, this process of elimination for each group of the team. So, I'm going to start things off. And let's see, I'm just going to give you the name of characters that are going to be in here. It's going to be, well, let me just tell you who I got, and then he'll tell you who he's got. On my corner on the Doom Patrol, I got Cliff Steele, Robot Man. I got Crazy Jane. I got Larry Trainer, a.k.a. Negative Man. I got Rita Farr, a.k.a. Elastigirl.
We have 5 of the Hargraves children, which are Luther, number 5, Vanya / Victor, and Diego.
Alright. Okay, so I'm going to start things off with who I think are going to be matched up and then how they're going to eliminate each other. So, I got Cliff Steele, a.k.a. Robot Man, going against Luther Hargreaves. I hope I'm saying that right, a.k.a. Space Boy. I got Crazy Jane going against number 5, a.k.a. The Boy. I got Vanya / Victor, a.k.a. The White Violin, going against Larry Trainer, a.k.a. Negative Man. I got Rita, a.k.a. Rita Farr, a.k.a. Elastigirl, going against Diego Hargreaves, a.k.a. The Kraken. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the top tiers. Their feats, their top feats. Anyways, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go.
Alright, so let's start off with Robot Man. Robot Man was able to counter-maneuver Mr. Nobody's hallucination. And Mr. Nobody is known as a being who can alter reality.
Alright, we'll go with Luther, or Space Boy. He was able to take a missile to the back, received almost no damage, and just shrugged it off. He was also able to knock over the Eiffel Tower with one punch.
Damn! The tower's huge!
Yeah, let that one sink in.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for real. Alright, Negative Man. Okay, the negative spirit itself has the ability to collapse itself over and over again until it reaches the negative realm, a place beyond existence and physicality. I mean, this thing is pretty much cosmic level over on steroids level character.
Now going into the Kraken, or Diego, or a.k.a. number 2.
Release the Kraken!
He can hit a target without looking. He was also able to stop a bunch of bullets that were coming at him in midair and then change their trajectory.
Crazy Jane. Yeah. Okay. When she discovered she was a comic book, she altered reality and returned the Recon Justice League back to its original self. Yeah. She's got that Scarlet Witch ability.
Now, number 5, or The Boy, as he's known. He's able to travel through time. I mean, obviously, if you've seen the show, you know that.
Yeah, season 2, he really shows that not only that he can travel but back in time, like to the history of like the beginning or whatever, he can also travel like
he can go
minutes.
He can go forward and backwards through time.
Yeah,
which is impressive if you think about it.
Yeah, so he's a young kid in an old man in a young kid's body.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, and one of the best assassins, by the way. All right, Elastigirl. All right, expanded her whole body until she became an omnipotent presence throughout everything that exists, even at some point able to avoid a reality reset because of it.
Now for Victor or Vanya or the white violin, whichever, she's going to be called now or he's going to be called now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We don't know the pronouns, I think.
Arguably one of the strongest members of the team, Victor or Vanya was able to end the world twice in 2 different timelines or 2 different universes.
Yeah, timelines. No,
timelines.
Timelines. Yeah.
Yeah, in 2 different timelines, he or she definitely destroyed the world.
All right, so now we're gonna get into how the process of elimination, how this would play out. All right, so let's start off with Robot Man, and I guess we'll call him either Luther. I'm gonna call him Space Boy because Space Boy sounds much more cooler. All right, so Space Boy and Robot Man. This is an interesting one because Space Boy is pretty damn strong and his body is pretty durable. So Robot Man, the name of the game is draining him out of his ability. So it's going to be a full-on throwing objects, getting muscle at each other and all that stuff. But let's get realistic. Robot Man never gets tired. Okay, so the idea is get Luther to constantly keep throwing all his swings and all he can at him. Because the more he does that, the more Luther's going to start feeling a little bit exhausted. He's a human. Robot Man is still a robot who doesn't need to sleep, doesn't need to eat, and he can keep going and going and going and going. But granted, it will take some time to get the big guy to drain down. But at the same time, he can also tenderize the meat. Go Rocky Balboa style on it, work on the body. Because, he's still tough as steel, so it's going to be pretty hard to kind of keep beating the body on Luther. But of course, he doesn't want to hit him too hard because it also can do some damage and then it might backfire. So, work the body, same time, just keep trying to drain Luther of his strength. The more he does it, the more and more he'll be able to kind of see the opportunity to kind of maybe punch a hole or break Luther into pieces. Alright. Elastigirl, or let's just go Rita and Diego, or the Kraken and Elastigirl. So, the Kraken and Elastigirl is an interesting one, because Diego in the show, look, I'm going to be real. I'm not going to base all my, all the things from Doom Patrol, the series, because I don't really know it completely. But I'm also not going to compare everything to the comics. But based on her abilities, she's elastic. She means she can go small, she can expand her body, she can turn into this giant blob or something like that. She's pretty crazy when she has her abilities. So the thing about it is, there was also a scene in the comics where she got shot with a being with a gun, and it bounced off of her. So her body is not something you can penetrate, and if it does, it's regenerative. So she can regenerate her body. She can also it's not easy to penetrate. So Diego throwing any kind of blades. Sadly, if you saw him in the show, he's kind of like the superhero of Batman, or a little exaggerated. He thinks he can help people or he can take anyone down, and he just goes in head first without really thinking about a strategy. So I gotta say, Diego, when it comes to Rita, and Rita's self-conscious and everything, but at the end of the day, her abilities are still gonna give her the chance to not be penetrated by a blade and everything like that. So she could either probably tie him up with her body, or she could probably go inside his mouth and suffocate him, to be honest, because she can't do that. She went inside a donkey's, nose. So I do believe she can go into another person's mouth if she needs to. Victor versus Negative Man, or the White Violin. Negative Man is tough, but Victor is also tough. The reality is that power that he or she possesses is pretty hard to kind of to match. But when you look at Negative Man is also able to do a lot of crazy capabilities, even fighting Mr. Nobody and his alter reality, even though he has the ability to control it. So I gotta say, both of them are going to probably hold each other off until backup arrives. I think you can't really say one's going to overpower the other, because it's kind of hard to match the level of power. So far, from what we can tell, they're both pretty damn strong. So it's hard to say who's going to push who out. Some people might say that Victor would be put down, but the reality is, because you've seen in the show, but you also have seen in the show where he or she has shown pretty much like capable of of much more, even when they're ready to go. So given that chance, White Violin, Negative Man, they get tied up on that one. Crazy Jane versus number 5, or the boy. Let me get real. Number 5 is probably hands down the guy you don't want to keep into the game. If he stays, he helps the other team strategize, and then they take everyone down. Yeah. Because they're more, I mean, granted, they fall apart sometimes throughout the show, but they also believe in number 5's leadership. So
they have been shown to be organized and strategic when the right one is put in charge.
Yeah, and obviously he's the right one. Luther is a little over the, he's a little goofball, and Diego's just too much of a strong head. But number 5, at least he might be a little arrogant, but he's also knows what he's talking about. Plus, he's much more skilled when it comes to killing people. I'm sorry to say. So these guys have to kind of take a step back or go to the back seat while he takes the drive in this type of fight. So keeping number 5 alive in this fight is not a good idea. But then again, Crazy Jane is also not a good idea to keep alive in the fight, no matter how long it stays. Because Crazy Jane has, get this, 64 personalities. And it's not just regular personalities. They also have powers. All of them. Okay, 64 powers with 64 personalities. So she is the top level one to mess with. You would think Negative Man, but this girl can do a lot of things. One episode, she was able to use talk a font out of her mouth and use them as blades. Okay, just saying words and then tossing them like daggers, like ninja stars. Like, I mean, just Jesus. Like, she has another power where she can turn into a fireball, another power where she can teleport, another power where she can be suggestive. There's so many powers she has that it's ridiculous. From what I've seen so far in the show, she's pretty much somebody you don't want to mess with. So putting her against number 5 is a perfect fit. Now you're gonna want to take the boy down pretty quickly in this fight, because let's be real, keeping him alive or keeping him enough time to give him time to think and process, he's much more smarter, much more wisdom, so he'd be able to take out Crazy Jane if he needed to. But given her 64 personalities of powers, I think that no matter where he comes from, at what angle, if she switches up to any power that turns into maybe freezing somebody or using electrical things to shock him for a moment and keeping his body still, that's going to be a problem for number 5, because the moment he gets like tasered or anything like that, if he gets slip up on some ice or anything and he's not in full control at that moment, Crazy Jane could use that moment of using that font character, throw freaking blades right at him and then get him right in the chest. Number 5 is still human. Even if he can teleport and travel through time, if she gets a clean shot in the head, he won't be able to time travel back. He won't be able to get, because if he's still bleeding out, he's still able to kind of conjure the ability to travel back a couple minutes before and figure a way out of it.
Yeah.
But if he's put Deadshot right in the head, no way he's going to be able to do that. So Crazy Jane eliminates number 5 in that way. Now that Crazy Jane has some availability and wiggle room, teaming up with the rest of the team is going to be kind of an easy sweep, because Crazy Jane's abilities help the team more with, like, it's almost like having a whole army in your side. Okay, while the other team distracts, she can always switch up the characters. She can turn into a bunch of things. She could be suggestive. She can mind control somebody. She can throw fireballs. She can teleport. She can teleport somebody into space or into to some acid or anything. Whatever she wants to do. She can throw them into a barrel of piranhas if she wanted to, and then travel back and teleport back. That's Crazy Jane's ability. So I think she goes against Luther or Space Boy and helps Robot Man, because she obviously cares about Robot Man a lot. So Robot Man and her team up. And I think with those two are going to overpower Luther at some point. Her abilities plus his massive strength eventually is going to put the big guy down. Luther is strong, but at some point going against someone who has much more abilities, he has shown that eventually he does get tired. And he is surprised by it, but yet, yeah, he still does get exhausted. He still gets whooped, and he'd probably be put down to count. And then Crazy Jane might help with Robot Man to go work on Victor, or what we call the White Violin. So while Victor's being worked on by Crazy Jane, Robot Man, I think Negative Man helps Rita out with Diego. Let's say she doesn't put him out officially, and she's keeping them, holding them, just kind of going a little dance. Eventually, Negative Man is going to put Diego down for the count. I mean, Diego is a pretty capable guy, but a surprise attack is not really going to be so much. It's not going to be his focus. His focus is going to be taking down Rita. And when he doesn't see it coming, Negative Man's just going to come in and hit him with a lightning bolt or something, or just go right through him and just bam, and then Diego's out for the count. And now you got Negative Man, you got Robot Man, you got Crazy Jane, Rita. You got all of them going against Victor. Now, Victor is pretty strong, but also ganging up. She's also, or he or she has shown that not very good when it comes to being pressured by a bunch of groups. It's one thing, yeah, may be able to put him down for a moment, with that kind of energy blast. But Negative Man again could just easily, at that moment when he blasts is off, you know, and Larry's still in control, could just get off of Larry's body, go and attack Victor when he or she does that one strike, and then bam, what do you call it, put Victor out that way. Either way, I have to say the gang of 4 of them against Victor, I'm gonna say surprisingly, Doom Patrol is gonna have their number.
With Luthor taking on Robot Man, there's a whole thing to it. I do think there's a couple of these fights that kind of end in a stalemate until another group member helps them out. Robot Man and Luthor is kind of one of those things. But I have to imagine that if Luthor has the strength to knock over the Eiffel Tower with one blow, that he could at least critically injure or at least slow down Robot Man. I'm pretty sure he'd be able to maybe rip off an arm or a leg. If he can rip off a leg and an arm, that would be great, because at least if Robot Man is not dead, he's incapacitated and he's not exactly a threat.
Yeah, what's those rocket sockums or something like that?
His body type seems very like Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
Yeah, so he could probably just...
And I've noticed that, I mean, especially with like that type of robot, he can't be very mobile or agile, I would think. So I want to say if Luthor's able to stand in close and just kind of box and just avoid his hits, that he can, you know, he could do some significant damage. Because with that type of power and with that type of strength, and Luthor has his own durability, and he's not exactly slow.
No, he's not.
Like people, I don't know how much of it has been mentioned in the comics, but it hasn't been shown exactly in the show.
Yeah.
But if you notice, Luthor's fast for a big man. He can move.
Oh yeah, he definitely can move. I mean, in the comics, he has Martian strength or something, and it's like super level. You know, like he can do a bunch of crazy things. So in the comics, I'm gonna say the reality of what he is now is probably similar. Like they're almost on the same playing field of strength.
Yeah. So if he's able to stay inside the pocket, stay out of Robot Man's punches, and just hit him and wear him down and incapacitate him and keep him off to the side, because if you can't kill him, at least try to demobilize him. Like I said, rip off an arm or a leg or both of them, or, you know, whatever he needs to do. Like I said before, if he's able to knock over the Eiffel Tower with one blow, I'm pretty sure he can take Robot Man. But then again, we don't know. I don't exactly know the entire durability and strength of Robot Man, but I want to say Luthor can take him.
Yeah.
Crazy Jane does have a lot of abilities, yes. But I want to say she's got to be able to at least see you coming to strategize an attack or some type of plan. If she doesn't know where you're coming from, then I want to say 5, especially if she doesn't see him coming, 5 has her number. He could either shoot her from a distance with a sniper rifle, because he's extremely well trained with like all forms of weapons.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's lived to about what?
I think he was like 67 years old.
I thought he was older.
No, he's like 7. He was like wandering the earth of the doomsday, or the end of the days, like from 60 to 70 with some mannequin.
Yeah, but then he was trained.
And then he was trained. Yeah, then he might have lived longer than that. So he might be like almost 100 years old or something. I have no idea. Maybe it's an exaggeration.
He's an extremely skilled with a lot of forms of weapons.
So been around.
He's been around a long time. So if he's able to snipe her and take her out, I mean, as I agree with him, both of these characters are endgames. Like, they should be taken out first, which is why it's good that we're stacking them against each other. Crazy Jane, yeah, that's pretty much like an army all wrapped into one. So if 5 is able to take her out immediately, then that would definitely work better for the rest of the squad.
Definitely.
He could snipe her from afar. I mean, 5 has his pretty, predictable move, where he pretty much just blinks and he ends up behind you and he stabs you, or he breaks your neck, or, you know, he does some form of sneak attack. So if he can do that, Crazy Jane's not going to see it coming. He is extremely quick on his feet, yes. Yeah. If he does somehow get wounded by Crazy Jane, he could always do that thing where he blinks like a few minutes before and then try to do something else. But I want to say the quickest and most efficient way to take Crazy Jane out, if he can't use his blinks, because one thing I want to say he could do is he could blink like several times, like around her to kind of keep her disoriented.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she's not going to see the attack coming. If he can't do that, you know, he's going to have to snipe her from afar. And if he can take her out of the equation right away, then that is going to make the rest of the fight a little bit easier.
Yep.
Victor, or Vanya. Arguably one of the strongest characters. I don't know a lot about Negative Man. I know that, well, I can't say I even really know, but anything Vanya hits with that blast is gonna feel it. You know, even if he is able to somehow detach himself from the body and move on with an attack, you know, Vanya's still pretty strong. I'm not entirely sure how fast she can recover and hit you with another blast, but once you get hit with it, you're gonna feel it. If Negative Man is not dead or killed by this blow, he will at least be knocked down, which will give 5 an opportunity, which if he's still around, to blink and maybe, you know, cut him from behind. Because if 5 is continue there, then he's gonna help Luther with Robot Man, he's gonna help Vanya with Negative Man. So keeping 5 in the equation, like I said, is definitely gonna make it easier. So Vanya is another one of those, or Victor, that's another one of those fights I think will kind of be a stalemate until somebody else can help. So moving on to Diego, or the Kraken. It is going to be extremely tough for him to overcome Elastigirl. I didn't know she could stretch herself that far. You know, obviously, like he said, it's going to be a little difficult for Diego to penetrate, even though pretty much with his abilities and his ability to change the trajectory of an object, pretty much once he throws his weapon, it lands on its target. He doesn't even need to be looking. I want to say one thing he could do is he could obviously stab her while he's tied up, if he has a knife in his pocket or in, you know, somewhere, which he has knives almost everywhere. So if he's able to sneak one out and stab her, if it doesn't wound her or it doesn't penetrate, maybe try to go for the head.
Maybe in the throat, inside. Maybe he goes for a blade inside the inside. I don't know what the insides are about. Yeah,
I mean, I want to say he'd want to go for the areas that aren't as protected, which would be her, you know, her throat, jugular, or the brain. I'm not entirely sure how that would go with the, you know, the rest of her abilities. So really, Diego would have to just try to hold her off until the other members of the team can come and help him. The big thing, like I said earlier, you have to take Crazy Jane out of the equation. You have to do it fast. If they can't do that, then there's pretty much, I don't know if they're going to be able to win. I just don't see the other ones being as big of a threat as Crazy Jane is to the rest. Yeah. You know, with all those different personalities and all those abilities, who knows what she can do.
As always, it's not up to me.
Or me.
It's up to you guys. So, if you guys liked my argument, you know what you can do? You can hashtag Doom Patrol. And if you like my boy's argument, what can you do, brother?
Hashtag Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, and as always, No Press fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.